So our first presenter is Rebecca Spector, and she's the West Coast Director of the Center for Food Safety. And Becky's been working on environmental and agricultural issues for more than 20 years. In fact, she was the co-owner of the first certified organic farm in Half Moon Bay. She has a lot of experience in establishing regulations to limit genetically engineered fish in California. She's written and promoted many different legislative initiatives, including state bills to require labeling. And previously, she served as the director of development at Green Seal, which was the first U.S. product eco-labeling organization. Becky?
Thanks so much, and thanks for having me. So as Winona said, I work for the Center for Food Safety, and we're a national nonprofit membership-based organization, and most of the work that we do is to make sure that the government is adequately regulating new food technologies. So that includes things like genetically engineered foods, foods that are irradiated, and a lot of the work that we do is really to promote organic and sustainable food and farming systems. And the way we do this is through legal initiatives. So we actually end up, sadly, having to sue the government. So the federal agencies that regulate our food, which are mostly USDA, FDA, and EPA, because these agencies, sadly, are not following the law. They're not following basic laws like the National Environmental Protection Act or the Endangered Species Act. So we have to go into court and sue them. And most of our cases have been around genetically engineered crops. And we've won a number of cases against USDA and also Monsanto because these novel crops, are not being adequately regulated. We also work on legislation at the federal and state level. And we also do market-based initiatives and consumer education. Let's see. So in terms of the evolution of eco-labels, it started because there was consumer concern about the environment. And so a lot of the initial labels you saw were things like recyclable or eco-friendly or energy efficient. And then as demand for those products started coming, then other companies started saying, well, we want to label our products. We want to show that our products are environmentally sustainable. So several certification organizations started, including Green Seal and Scientific Certification Systems, and they certified a number of products, such as toilet paper, light bulbs, paints. And then you started seeing the proliferation of eco-labels. And as Winona was saying, these are usually private, either companies or nonprofits that set up a set of standards to label a product as having an environmental benefit, such as Salmon Safe, or Rainforest Alliance Certified, or Certified Humane, which certifies that a product adheres to certain animal welfare standards. So right now, there are hundreds of eco-labels in the marketplace. And then there's also consumer expectations. So as Winona was saying, people want the right to know how their food is produced. They want to know if their food adheres to environmental standards or is friendly to the environment. And then there are also concerns about allergenicity. And that's actually one of the reasons why Center for Food Safety and Food and Water Watch and a lot of other organizations support labeling of GE foods. There's no way for us to know if there are adverse health reactions to these foods because they're not labeled. The government has not done safety testing or long-term health studies of these foods. And so the only way we would be able to know if they're causing adverse health effects or causing allergic reactions is if they're labeled. So what makes a meaningful eco-label? Well, one is that it's meaningful and verifiable. So it has environmental meaningful standards, and that it can be verified by a certifier or another independent organization. Second, it should be consistent and clear. So it should be verified in a manner so that the label is consistent in meaning among different products. And then it should be transparent. So there's information available about who the certifier is, where their funding comes from, their board of directors, and the information should be made available to the public. In addition, they should be independent and protected from conflicts of interest. So what you want is for these labeling organizations to not have ties to or receive funding from the sale of certified products other than the use of the logo. And also that there's not a conflict of interest in terms of people on the board should not be involved in getting certified. Also, we want to make sure that there's opportunities for public comment so that there's standards that are developed and the public has an opportunity to develop them. So these are standards that have been set by Consumer Reports. Consumers Union is the nonprofit behind that, and Center for Food Safety supports these standards. So in terms of eco-labels in the marketplace, we have independently verified, as Winona was talking about, and USDA Organic would be one example. So this is a label that follows strict, stringent standards, as Winona was saying, 600-page long standard. And this one happens to be government regulated. And there are certifiers. There are hundreds of certifiers that certify products as being organic. And then I want to be sure that people understand that that's very different from self-declaring labels, what we call greenwashing. So you might go into the supermarket and you'll see lots of products that have what looks like a label. So there's like GMO-free with a leaf on it, or what's another self-certifying claim? A lot of companies are making claims on their products, but they're the manufacturers making those claims themselves. So it's not, there are no standards for that. There is no organization behind it, and there's no certifier. So those are self-declaring labels, and we want to. And I think one problem in the marketplace is that consumers often get very confused between labels that are certified, have certifiers, have very strong standards, and then just labels that any manufacturer can put on their product. And also, one of those claims happens to be free range when it comes to eggs. So there are no government standards for free range eggs, and that's a term that many people think carries a lot of weight and a price tag too. And there are no current federal standards for those.